Hi, this is Bill, and this is PROTO-PROG. Over the course of our more recent episodes on this channel, we've been reviewing our list of 25 proto-prog albums released in the late 1960s that influenced and helped build the foundation for the genre of music we now call progressive rock. In our first episode on proto-prog, we provided the list of the 25 albums and reviewed the criteria that we used for selecting them. If you haven't seen that episode yet, that is available on our channel on YouTube at this link. We also, since that episode, have done deep dives on quite a few of the albums on the list from the years 1965, 66, 67, and 68. If you have missed any of those episodes, those are all available on our YouTube channel. Definitely, please go back and check those out. We hope you enjoy them. Today's episode reviews the last of the albums on our list from the year 1968. Released in November of '68, we're going to be talking today about the Nice's classic album, Ars Longa Vita Brevis. The star of the Nice, of course, was Keith Emerson. By 1968, Keith Emerson had been a fixture on the London music scene for a number of years. He became known first as a member of Gary Farr and the T-Bones, and following that would star in the VIPs, the band which, after Emerson's departure, would regroup and become known on a worldwide basis as Spooky Tooth. Emerson started the Nice in 1967 as the backing band for the American soul singer P.P. Arnold, who at this time had moved to the UK and was working with Andrew Loog Oldham, the ex-Rolling Stones manager, who by this time had started his own record label, Immediate Records. By virtue of the relationship with Oldham and with Arnold, the Nice very quickly secured a record contract, and in 1967 released their first album, The Thoughts of Emerless Davjak, which was very well received in the UK, but did not make much of a dent in the United States. Immediate was distributed in the United States by CBS Columbia Records, who in those days tended to give preference from a promotional perspective to their own bands. And so the Nice, while there was an awareness of them in the United States, did not attain star stature based on their first album. Things would change, however, in the run-up to the second album. In the summer of 1968, the Nice released a non-LP single that would prove to be their breakthrough in the UK, their version of Leonard Bernstein's America from West Side Story. America was billed by Emerson as the first instrumental protest song. Emerson became famous, or potentially infamous, if you will, shortly after America was released at a concert that the Nice gave at the Royal Albert Hall in London, where he set fire to an American flag, which caused the Nice to be banned from Albert Hall for a number of years. Emerson was a virtuoso. He was an outstanding keyboard player and was also, along with Vincent Crane of The Crazy World of Arthur Brown and Brian Auger, who at this time was emerging on the British scene, was one of the few British musicians who would tour with a Hammond organ. And Emerson used the Hammond on stage to great effect. He would bounce it around the stage to create feedback and explosion-like sounds caused by the spring reverb unit built into the Hammond bouncing on the floor and going through the echo chamber built into the instrument. Emerson would, in addition to abusing the Hammond in that way, would stick knives in its keyboard to sustain notes. He would tip the unit over in order to create feedback, and sometimes play it from the back and play it with the Hammond sitting on top of his body. Emerson established a reputation in this time frame as being the Jimi Hendrix of the Hammond organ, and that probably wasn't too far wrong. Ars Longa Vita Brevis was made by the Nice in October of 1968. It was the first recording session that the Nice pursued as a three-piece keyboard, bass, and drums. The Single of America was the last recording that the Nice made with their original guitar player, David O. List. The Nice had considered, at one point, continuing with a guitar player and had gotten very close to securing the services of a then young Steve Howe to play with them going forward. But for various reasons, both sides ultimately decided that this was not the best match, and the Nice went on as a keyboard-led trio. Ars Longa Vita Brevis was a strong album in terms of showcasing not only Emerson's talent, but the talents of Lee Jackson, their bass player and singer, and Brian Davison, their drummer. All three were very strong musicians, and that came across very well on this self-produced album by the band. Notable selections from the album in its UK version included the Nice's take on Sibelius's Corellia Suite, and the suite that comprised side 2, the title track, if you will, from the album, Ars Longa Vita Brevis, which included a very, very strong version of the Nice with orchestral backing, playing Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 3. Was so strong that Immediate would release this section of the Ars Longa suite as a single. Ars Longa Vita Brevis was among the first progressive rock suites to find its way to vinyl, and it was an early attempt by a progressive rock band to work with an orchestra as well. Ars Longa Vita Brevis helped the Nice ultimately attain commercial footing in the United States as well. In the US, Columbia Records added America to the running order of the album. In fact, they made it the first song on side 1. And at that point, it was impossible for American radio to ignore the song. The Nice at this point would become a fairly regular fixture on the new and emerging FM radio format in the United States, progressive rock radio. Keith Emerson, of course, would remain an important figure on the progressive rock scene for many years going forward. Within a year of Ars Longa Vita Brevis's release, he would leave the Nice and start one of the iconic bands of the progressive rock era, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, with whom he would work throughout the 1970s. We have on this YouTube channel 2 episodes dedicated to the early days of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, one covering the formation of the band and the other the making of their first album. If you haven't seen those episodes before, please go and check them out here at this link. These were made several months ago and are quite comprehensive. If you love Emerson and the LP, by all means, go and check those out. We hope you enjoy them. That's all for this episode of Progpaganda. As always, if you like what you see here, please click like for the episode and please subscribe to the channel. We'll do our best, of course, to keep you satisfied with some great content about progressive rock, both old and new. In our next episode, we'll continue with running down the albums on our Proto-Prog list. Our next album crosses into 1969 with a classic album by Procol Harum, A Salty Dog. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Take care.